Hello, and welcome back to NWCL Beyond the Boundary. I'm Cobby Donnelly, and today I'm joined by Blackrod Cricket Club's first team captain, Joey Pryle. How you going, mate?
I'm all right, buddy. It's been a busy start to the year. I'm already exhausted, and we're not even out of May, are we? So other than that, everything's ticking along. We've had a chaotic month, but settling down and getting into the cricket now.
So, firstly, could you introduce yourself, please? So, tell us a bit about yourself and your involvement at Blackrod.
Yeah, well, I'm Joe Pryle. I'm the captain of the club, and I've been in that role for over a decade now. I've played for the club since 1993. That's when I made my senior debut as well in that year. Um, so I've been involved in it for a long time. Obviously on the committee, we're very busy with lots of our projects. That's been quite exhausting, but we've moved the club into a good place now, and it sets us up well for the future with our youngsters, which is what our goal is. We've got other things in the pipeline I can talk about if you like, but that's me in a nutshell. I mean, I've played for Blackrod every year since, apart from 1 year where I was living in Australia.
Good. So, to have a quick look at last season, I think you had a very good season. Obviously, you were champions in the Premiership, and you also runners up in the T20 Cup. As captain, how happy were you that you achieved the things you did?
I was over the moon, mate. I mean, I knew we'd be competitive because for the 2 seasons before last, we had pushed up into the top six in the league. So it was like I knew that we could like go that step further. At the start of the season, I said to the lads, "Look, maybe we can get in the top three." But when we started the season so well and had a good run early on, that confidence bred throughout, and we kicked on. So I was delighted with the outcome. Of course, I mean, I did say to Graham when he interviewed me, like I'd be happy to win one trophy. We could have come away with two, couldn't we? But yeah, it's just great to bring silverware back to the club after such a lengthy period.
Mm. The success from in the league brought to the club in terms of obviously you won a trophy, so the buzz was there ahead of this season and last season as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's massive for the village really because the cricket club's like a hub, a centre piece in the village, a place where everyone comes to merge together. There's been a lot of um, a few down periods for a few people around the village as well. So this was hopefully giving them that little bit of a boost that they needed when there's been some. We've lost a few people around the village as well. There's been some negative moments, and this was a way to bring people together and a bit of a positive boost for everyone. For me, it's about inspiring our youngsters as well. So, one day, maybe soon, I'll step away myself, but the youngsters that we've got bringing through, they can take on that mantle and see that you can achieve things. But also, I think it's like raised the profile of the club as well because we're not really a fashionable club. We're sort of stuck in the middle between Chorley, Bolton, Wigan, and we're not really one of those big fashionable clubs. So hopefully, it's made people sit up and look at us differently, which is I think this has been the case at the start of this season. People have been a bit more respectful and a bit more sort of focused when they're playing us now. I have noticed that. So those are the things really that it's brought to the club.
Yeah, you just mentioned it there. I was obviously last year you surprised a lot of teams. You signed a new pro who trying to be very, very good. You signed top overseas, which ultimately helped you to get your success you did. But do you think last season's success will make it harder for you? You mentioned there probably has. As many people have viewed Blackrod as a team to beat this year.
Of course it has, mate. I mean, you just look around the clubs and how they've recruited. It's made it more competitive, hasn't it? And everyone, that's the good thing about this new league that we've formed is that on a given day anyone can beat anybody, which is brilliant. We've been in competitions before where it's dominated by one or two teams. That's not great. So this league is wide open and anybody can beat anybody, and that's only healthy. So yeah, maybe that's caused by our success. Maybe people have looked at that and thought, right, well, we need to get back up there as well, and recruited strongly because of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And despite last season's success, you lost your wicketkeepers at Burton to Little Lever, who finished second last season. Whilst that's a big loss for you, you've got Jacob Stevenson keeping for you this year. How well has he adopted himself to being the first team keeper this year?
Yeah, very difficult shoes to fill with Zach. He's a top class wicket keeper. He's as good as amateur wicket keeper as you'll see around in the northwest. But yeah, Jacob has come in and he's not done much of it, but he's learning the trade, I suppose. He actually got injured on Saturday, so he might not be available. Yeah, he's back on Saturday. This coming Saturday, he's resting it. But that comes with the territory of being a wicket keeper. But yeah, he's doing his best, and he's growing into it, I suppose.
Well, now we'll look at your games last weekend. I'll go into Sunday a bit later on, but first I want to talk about your Saturday fixture against Farnworth. So you got 197 for 8, and you managed to bowl Farnworth out for 177. Can you talk us through that game, please?
Yeah, brilliant game, wasn't it? I mean, not good for me with my heart rate because Farnworth came at us, and all credit to them. Chris Baxendale, he took it really deep, and if he'd stayed in and seen it through, I think they'd have beaten us because he was batting really well. Just chipped one back to Ronaldo, caught and bowled, which was like the moment we were looking for, really. But yeah, I look at Farnworth, they're a team kind of in transition. I've been there myself. I know how difficult it is. Like, got Taylor taking on captaincy. That's something that's new to him, and he's going to have to learn a few things there. It's not an easy job to do. So I understand what they're going through, but yeah, that's not to take away the fact that they were competitive and gave us a tough game. I was just more delighted in my own team in the way that we stuck together. And when the Falcons were coming at us, we had that resilience, and that's probably born out of our experiences last season. So yeah, it's all about being together, and that was the pleasing aspect of it for me. When we've got the ball in hand, we're a match for anybody. I've got a good all round bowling unit, so very confident that we can do that in a lot of games. So yeah, for the neutral, though, it was a great game to watch.
Mm. And last year, you didn't open last year. I think you had Dan Robinson opening last year. This year, I think you've opened most, if not all, the games. And
Okay.
on Saturday, obviously, you put on a 90-year partnership with Navod. How important do you think it is to put on a good partnership for the first wicket?
Essential, isn't it? And that's teed us up really well for that particular game. I've gone back to opening myself. I've done it for many years, but took a break from it. I wanted to give other people a go. I'm trying to promote opportunities for people to come on and kick on and take the mantle, because I know that I'm not going to be playing first team for many more years. Who knows? But it's basically not an easy job to do. You're quite right, and it's it's uh, it's important that you see off that new ball and build a foundation for the rest of your team to kick on. And I think we did that really well. But yeah, Navod, he's top class. He's a top draw, professional opening batter. Comes from good pedigree in Sri Lanka. There, he's on the verge of a call up for his national team. So if he gets into that setup, then there's no reason why he can't kick on and play Test cricket, because he's got the potential to do that, and that's great for us at the moment to have him at the club, and for us all to learn off, because he's that good. So everyone rates him really highly in Sri Lanka. He's had a good season back there. Hopefully, he doesn't get called up during our summer, but one day he might go on to higher honours, which is what we want at the club. It's good for our club to shout about, isn't it?
Mm. I mean, you should decide on your team who gets wickets, gets runs every season. How good is it as a captain to have someone like him coming at 3 or 4 and handy with a ball as well? Someone who will just get runs and get wickets all the time, even at the age he's now.
There's no way we could do what we're doing without Tushy. He's my right hand man. We've got a good partnership together where he sort of helps me with everything on and off the field. He's been our professional in the past he was pro for 6 years, but he knows what it means, what it entails to be a professional cricketer. So having him there, especially with Navod as a youngster, to sort of be his mentor is priceless. But yeah, with the bat and ball, if he's having an off day with the bat, he'll just turn it on with the ball. That's the how good he still is. I mean, he's he's taken over 800 wickets for the club and he's approaching 12,000 runs, I think, for the club. So his stats speak for themselves, and hopefully he's still around for a few more years. Yeah.
I mean, see, obviously, you struggled a lot in the first two games. To be fair, you played Paddy and Stoke Farnworth Social, who are both very good sides. However, after that, you managed to recover, and now you've won two games of a trot. How good is it as captain to see that your team has recovered from losses and is quite resilient in that approach?
Yeah, that first game of the season, we were a bit under par. Should have competed more against Paddy. We brought it back really well with the ball and stopped Paddy getting away from us. But we didn't really back well on the day. And I'm not making excuses, but Navod wasn't there. But now he's here. We've got a foundation to build around, and that's already seeing was already seeing the benefit of that. The Farnworth social game was actually really good as well. It could have gone either way, to be honest. Jamil just tipped it over the line, took Tushy for 22, I think, in one over right near the end. If he hadn't done that, I think we'd have won that game. So we were competing, and that's more important for me. I said to the lads, as long as you're coming off the field and giving everything, I have no complaints. If you're beaten by the better side on the day, then you hold your hands up. But as long as we're giving everything, we're not slacking. Then we'll be in the mix. And the thing is that we're doing really well with our training now. Everyone's turning up, really committed, and if you do that, then you'll get your rewards at the weekend. So
Mm,
it's all going in the right direction again now.
yeah.
After
And
a bit of a slow start, yeah.
yeah. And we mentioned on obviously last Sunday you progressed in Milan's knockout. You played against Cheatham Gladiators. And I don't know how when the last time you was in that competition, but how good is it to get off to a good start in the Lancs knockout?
Brilliant. We had a really favourable draw. I'll be honest with you, because Cheatham Gladiators they are a clear weaker opposition, but he's still got to turn up and do the job. And it was very hard to concentrate against that level of opposition because you just didn't know what to expect. They could bowl they bowl like three or four really poor balls and over, but then they could bowl one or two dangerous ones. So you have to be on your guard, and we managed to do that. We got enough runs in the end, and then, like I said earlier on, I'm confident with our bowling attack that we can defend that kind of score. It was more pleasing for me that I was able to give other people a go, and they can stake a claim for their place going forward, which is really pleasing. We were in the Lancs knockout 2 years ago. We drew against Longridge in the first round, who were the current champions at the time. So that was a tougher draw, a tougher experience. But it's all good for us as a club to be back in that competition and again amongst the best in the county, essentially. Me personally, I think it's only about the fourth time that we've been in the Lancaster knockout. So it's something that I really want us to do really well in. We've not been beyond the last 16 before, so we play Padiham in the next round, and that's a tough game. So we'll be gearing up ready for that one.
Yeah, and so now we'll talk about your pro and overseas. I will start with your pro. I know you already touched on that before, but can you talk about him as not just a player, as a person as well, and what he offers to the club both on and off the pitch as well?
Well, I don't know if you've met Navod before or you know Navod, but he doesn't say much. He's a very quiet lad, and all the first class players back in Sri Lanka say the same. He just comes in, sits in the changing room, gets on with his job, and then goes home. That's it. You can't read much else into it. But he has started to come out of his shell a bit more. You've got to remember he's only 22, right? Just turned 23 last week, so he's still a young man himself, and he's still figuring things out. But performance-wise, batting and bowling, he's exceptional. He was a real find I knew he was a good batsman, but to find out that he was a good left arm spinner as well, it's just the icing on the cake. So we're really grateful that we've got him back for a second season. But yeah, off the field, he started getting a bit involved in a bit more coaching now, which might bring him out of his shell a bit more, which is pleasing to see. And he has commented that I mean, he's got a long career ahead of him as a cricketer, but beyond that, he wants to go into coaching. So it starts here, doesn't it? It all starts here for him. So set him on the level 2 course last year. He's got that under his belt, and now he's kicking on doing a bit more with the youngsters at the club now.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot to offer on and off the field.
On social media, I think a lot of your lads went up to Sri Lanka, with him, or I know you was around him. How did that come about? Because you're playing cricket over there. How was that experience as well as a team?
Yeah, it's just a life-changing experience to go on that tour, to be honest. We took a junior team and a senior team, and it's all through Tushendra, really. He's been keen to take us there and show us his homeland. He hadn't been back there himself for 7 years, so he was quite emotional at times. But yeah, being exposed to that different culture, especially for some of the youngsters, was life-changing. Saminder Senapathy used to play for us as well. He's a previously been a tour guide back home in Sri Lanka, so he was the one who organised and sorted everything out for us. We played 4 games of cricket out there. Then we did some good stuff in the community as well. We visited a school and an orphanage. And then we did some tourist things as well, going seeing some of the sites of Sri Lanka. So being exposed to all that was fantastic. And yeah, Navod wasn't on the tour with us. He was still playing his first class games, but he did meet up with us while we played. We played at some real good facilities as well. Two of the grounds that we went to were sort of like grammar schools, quite esteemed colleges. So they've got good facilities there. Then we played on the Mercantile ground, which is where a lot of they play a lot of the banker games on the, like, businesses have their own teams. They play a lot of games on there. So playing on that facility was great. But then we also played at Colts, which is one of the first class grounds. It's a bit like playing at Old Trafford, So well, not quite to that level, but good facilities. That's what I'm saying. So having that as a pre-season tour set us up really well. So some of the youngsters have come back from that and they're kicking on straight away, straight into the season. So cricket wise, that was a good thing.
Well, now I want to talk about you overseas amateur. Last year you had Anthony Greenidge, who you couldn't bring back last year. You had a very good season last year. And this year you signed Ronaldo Holder, and I think you did an interview with him, Hardcastle. He's more of a bowling all-rounder, as opposed to Anthony, who was a batting all-rounder. How do you think he adopted to the club in the 5 games he's been here?
Straight away, mate. I mean, the thing about Nally, that's his nickname, is that he has been here 6 times before. Well, he's been here for 6 different seasons. He had 2 seasons in Derbyshire, 2 seasons in Sussex, I think. Was it Sussex? Yeah. But he's experienced enough that he's been to England several times. That's what I'm trying to get across. So he was able to come in and fit right in with the team. Um, yeah, I tried to get Antonio back, but because he's in the military, they won't release him for another season. So I mean, he had a great season last season for us, didn't he? But this is different now. We've just had to adapt slightly. Where Ronaldo's more of a frontline bowler, and he's hit the ground running. I mean, he's just been unlucky, to be honest, in a lot of the games. He's passed the edge of the bat so many times. He could have had 5, 6 wickets in some of those games, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get a panful soon. So yeah, he's a very experienced cricketer. He knows the script, and again, very much like Antonio, a bit more mature and great for me to have around as captain to lean on. So only positive things to say about Ronaldo.
So now I want to move on to your third team. I know you've mentioned your juniors before, but across all your team, really, you've had juniors in your team and players who have played in your junior section as well. But how important is having a third team at Blackrod? And what is your strategy for developing talent at the club?
Well, that's it's essentially that's what it's about. It's allowing those youngsters a place to be able to play a longer format of cricket, and that's why we set it up in the first place. Because years ago they were just coming straight out to junior games, straight into senior cricket, and they weren't developing that longer format of cricket. So that's what it was for initially. But now it's like a we've got like a conveyor belt of young talent coming through from that, and it's started through that, and then they go into second team and then feed into first team, we've got that alignment going now between all those three teams, and it's taken a long time to get to that point, but now we've got a different kind of headache where selection might be a problem going forward because we've got a lot of these youngsters knocking on the door, which is really what it was all about in the first place. So, I mean, young Ewan Phillips, I say he's young, he's like one of the older ones now. He's like 23, 24. He's taken over captaincy of that third team, which is good for him to develop his leadership skills. So he might be one for the future if he takes that on, who takes over from me one day. Who knows? You never know. So that's really what third team's about. And the problem is fitting it in because we've got that many games coming now with junior cricket, with senior cricket, cup matches, and things like that. Is sometimes we've had to cancel some of those third team games, but we're lucky that a lot of those players can go and play second team as well.
Mm.
So
And
really, it's only been a good thing having a third team.
yeah, and clubs, you gain players, you lose players. And what's at Blackrod? What's your plan for retaining players at the club? But what would you say that Blackrod offers to players which maybe other teams don't?
What I try to do is bring them into senior cricket as soon as possible, and you see that a lot of youngsters drop out of the sport because they've got so many other distractions, so many things that they can do, like going off with football. And yeah, I've had so many youngsters over the years that go off to university, for example, you don't see them again. So what I try to do is try to hook them in somehow. So with Richard, who's a second team captain, we've got a great rotation system going now where we'll bring one or two of the youngsters into the first team for a couple of games, so they get exposed to that sort of level of competition. And we put them back in the seconds, and then rotate it around and get another couple in. So that works really well for us because you feel like they're all those youngsters are playing a part, and they also feel like themselves as well. They also feel like they're contributing, and they're being involved. Because if you don't involve them, they're just going to drop out. So I've always been keen to do that since day one of being captain, and it continues to this day, and it's working. So you don't really need to think too much about retaining those players because they tend to be loyal to the club because of that. So it doesn't always work. I'm not saying it's a golden like rule, but that's the strategy. That's what I'm trying to do to make them involved because they are the future, aren't they?
Juniors, not just juniors or senior players as well, is your Ashworth. You've got, if I'm not mistaken, you've got Richard Ashworth, Stephen Ashworth, Lucas Ashworth, Jacob Ashworth, Will Ashworth, and young Noah Ashworth. But I think that's the only time I really seen guys that settle with the Davidsons. So how nice is it to have that at Blackrod? And obviously they're all contributing to the club in many different ways.
Well, you missed a few off there, actually. There's a few more Ashworths. There's young Dan Furrest, who's the cousin of them as well. You've got Stephen's got his two young sons who are playing in the juniors as well. So it's a big family, and they are from a farm which is right next to the cricket club, and they've also recently set up an indoor cricket centre there, the batting barn. So yeah, good relationship with that family, and it's good for the club because our players can go and use that barn. And those Ashworths growing up now around the club are a central part to our plans for the future. Yeah, they're all talented cricketers in their own right.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Richard and Stephen for many years now. So that Stephen's still playing for me in the first team. Richard's second team captain. We've got a good relationship going there. So yeah, yeah, they're a big family, aren't they? Big cricketing family, all cricket nuts as well. So
Mm.
it's only an encouraging thing that.
Yeah. And with the Northwest Cricket League except looking to expand the league in the next year or two, what would you say the positives that you and Blackwood experienced since being in the Northwest Cricket League?
Yeah, I had a little think about that. I think it's an even competition. It's evened it up. Like I said earlier on, any team can beat each other on a given day, which is only healthy. We've got a promotion and relegation now that's added a bit more spice to it. Um, the travel as well as a new thing, traveling to play at new grounds and meet new people, form new sort of rivalries. That's another good thing. But more importantly for me, and I've spoken to Martin Axford about this, is it protects local cricket. Local cricket is essential, you know. So if we're having to travel further afield to like some of the GMCL clubs have to, then that's going to kill some of us off because our youngsters might not want to do that. You know, they might not want to travel to all these games and all these grounds. Um, I've been experienced to being part of two leagues folding now because of this. Well, not just because of that, but it was a contributory factor. And it's not a nice thing to see when a local league is folding. So I just take my hat off to the people that organise the Northwest Cricket League to bring these two leagues together, because it's helped to sustain local cricket for the future. So
Hmm.
that's only a good thing, really.
Yeah. What do you think the league's main asset is to attract new clubs?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Like I said, that offer of promotion relegation. You've got access to professional cricketers, you know, as well. You've got, you know, that was a important thing that was retained, that we can have professionals and overseas players. So that also, suppose, develops. Well, it definitely develops our youngsters at our club, having like exposure to people from other cultures. You know, that's a good thing. But yeah, it's a tough question, that one. What have some of the other people said about that?
One I'll ask you as well as communication. So obviously as captain, communication both from umpires and other players, and not just from the league exec as well, in terms of whether it's Cayman Cup draws, Bitless Cup draws, or any decision that's really come from the exec down to the players and as captain as well. So what's your thoughts been on that?
Yeah, it's been open and transparent so far, and that's helped, hasn't it? That you know, there's obviously teething problems because it's a new venture, in a new league. But I can see everyone's trying to do the best, and you've got to start somewhere and then shape it up. So I can see that that's happening. So yeah, that communication has been pretty good and open and visible. So that's a good thing,
Yeah.
mate. Keep doing what you're doing.
What do you say with pros and overseas as well? I think Genty mentioned about in Premier League you can't have an overseas amateur. You can only have one overseas player. I'm not sure on the right rules. But what do you think in our league you can have both pro and overseas? What do you think that brings to the league in terms of the cricket quality?
Well, I've just said it. It just strengthens everything, doesn't it? I mean, I've got a guy from Sri Lanka and a guy from Barbados now, different parts of the world, and you know, bringing them to the club and they fit in really well, um, is something new for our players. So it's great. It's a great thing, yeah.
Well, so lastly, I want to move into some quick fire questions. So,
All right.
firstly, your favourite cricketing memory.
Yeah, I had a look at that. I've been playing that long. I've got that many, and I've also forgot many. But this recent tour to Sri Lanka, that's going to end up being up there. I mean, life changing things that have gone on there, and you know, if anyone gets the chance to do that, you've got to grasp it. So it was a brilliant thing. Me personally, I've lived in America and played cricket in America, and I've got good memories and met lots of good friends out there. It's also been a big part of my life. You know, I've ended up doing research and studies because of it. So, you know, good memories of playing cricket in America. 1997, the Ashes was on. We went on a tour with Blackrod to Somerset. We were supposed to play 3 games down there. It's something that we still talk about to this day. I was like the kid on the tour at that time. I was only 18. But I mean, like Nigel Partington, he's involved at Little Lever now. He was our professional at the time. And we went down to Somerset together as a team. We've got some happy memories of that still that we talk about to this day. So that's another happy memory. Um, Essentially, though, most of it's about playing with my mates. When I've been able to play and win games and win tournaments, and like last season we won the league. A lot of those people are my mates. There's nothing better than that, is there? Opportunity to travel. Like I've said, I've played in Australia as well, played in Sri Lanka, played in America. That all comes from cricket. So lots of happy memories, mate. I can't single one thing out over others, to be honest.
And the best player that you've played with?
The best player?
Yeah.
That's again a tough one. I mean, we had a professional at our club, Brenton Parchment. He was a Test match cricketer. He came in and with that sort of prestige, didn't disappoint. Just really good player to play with. Very competitive, feisty kind of character on the field. But yeah, great to learn off. I remember having a couple of good partnerships with him. And we became a real competitive team that year because of him. So he's got to be up there. When I started playing in the early days, our professional was Terry Southworth, fantastic bowler. He would get 100 wickets a season. Everyone respects Terry around the leagues now who's played with him, and I would agree with that. His son Jack is actually playing. He's one of my friends. He's playing in the first team with me now. Um, when I played in America, I played in a game, England versus Australia, sort of like a pro amateur game. And I was in the same team as Robert Key and Simon Jones that day. So I played with those two. In the opposition was Steve Waugh. So playing against Steve Waugh was something I'll never forget. But closer to home, I mean, my right hand man, Tushi De Zoysa, he's a club legend. There's no one going to ever do what he's done at our club again. To score that many runs and take that many wickets, he's got like 18 centuries for the club. I mean, it's unheard of. So he's up there with one of the best players I've played with as well.
And the toughest amateur and pro player that you've played against?
Again, a tough question. This, I mean, there's been so many over the years. I mean, toughest amateur. I'll never. I always had some real tough games against Mark Penny from Little Alton. He ended up becoming a pro himself, but I mean, he could bowl quite sharp. He was a fantastic batsman, hard hitting batsman. Um, but he had a sharp tongue as well. I used to give it to you on the field. He never let up. But I'd like to think that those like tussles that we had, he now is. Whenever I see him, which is very rare these days, he's like quite. We've got that healthy respect because of it. But yeah, he was a class apart. Um, Best pros. I mean, I've just mentioned a few there, but uh, Devendra Bundala, he was a good pro for Daisy Hill, played for Kersley, I think, as well. He ended up becoming, I think, the leading run scorer in Ranji Trophy history in India. I mean, he was just a class apart. Again, he scored 100 at Blackrod once, and he just did everything through mid on, mid off with class, with just ease, and just made it look easy. He was a good player. Um, Played against another Test player, Bazid Khan. He was pro for Astley and Tilsley, and he scored like 1,800 runs one season. Actually, didn't do that well against us against Blackrod, but he, he was a good caliber player who ended up playing Test cricket as well. I think he commentates now. I think I've heard him on commentary a few times in the international matches. But yeah, he was a good pro in our local leagues as well.
And your favourite ground to play at besides Blackrod?
Well, this is it. Personally, as a player, I've done really well at Astley and Tilsley. It's a small ground, rock hard wickets, and I think I've scored a ton on there and about 7 or 8 50s. So it's a good ground for me personally. I don't really. um, I've not done as well at any other ground, to be honest. But picturesque wise, we played a national knockout game at Ramsbottom once. Beautiful ground, beautiful setup and facilities. they're very lucky to have what they've got there. So that's a good ground to play at. Yeah.
And your favourite cricketing legend?
It's got to be Shane Warne, really. I mean, when I started, I watched the Ashes in 1993. I'd never watched cricket properly before then. And Shane Warne, I watched him and I thought, how's he doing this? This guy, what? And I started playing around with it myself, and that's how I started out. Was a leg spin bowler because of Shane Warne. So yeah, he's a legend, isn't he? I mean, he's influenced so many people, and I'm one of them. So I've got to say Shane Warne, really.
And the last one, what's your biggest pet peeve in cricket? More so amateur cricket.
Well, there's a lot of gamesmanship going on, isn't there, from some teams, which really sticks up my nose. I mean, there's a lot of sort of teams that are at it from ball one, with their over appealing, which I don't like. It goes against the spirit of the game. I don't think we do it as a club. I don't allow my players to do it. So yeah, that's one of the big peeves for me. Is like, let's just play it. Let's just play it in the right spirit, please.
Mm. So I think that's all the questions I have. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we finish?
No, I think it's been good to talk about this kind of stuff because it's all there. Usually, we're always thinking about it and chatting around local teams and local members. But having it on a forum like this is really good. So thanks for inviting me along. And yeah, I mean, I could talk about cricket all day, but we've only got half an hour or so, haven't we? So the questions that you've covered, really good, thought provoking. So appreciate it.
Brilliant. So, well,
Okay.
I'd like to thank you for coming on, and I wish you best of luck for the season.
Thanks, mate. It's a long way to go yet. It's
Yeah.
there's a lot of tough games ahead and big challenges to come. So yeah, we've got to be ready for it. Yeah. All right.
Best of luck for the T20s on Friday as well.
Yeah, we're at Farnworth on Friday, so that's uh, that's going to be a good tussle.
Yeah.
All right.
So, thank you for coming
Okay.
on.
Thank you, mate. All right. Take care. See you during the season.
Yeah. Yeah.